What made you want to enter show business?
I have no idea at all. I've always wanted it from the time I could put two ideas together. There was no question where I was going.
Is that right? What attributes must a good comedian have?
Humor. All else will follow. Humor is very important.
I would guess so. When you get up in front of people, most people are so scared of that. Do you still have stage fright when you go out?
I do. I have it every time I go out. It's not so much a stage. Yes, you want them to like you. You're nervous, so they like you. And if they don't like you, I find I stutter, and I get I literally do jokes backwards. Yeah, I'm always there. It's all about acceptance.
Right. I read a quote of yours one time where you said, "You don't think of yourself as a stand-up comic, but an actress who is funny." Why do you feel that way?
Well, that's how I got through when they didn't like me. I would say I'm not really a comedian. I'm an actress. So it doesn't matter if they think I'm funny. I don't think of myself as anything. I don't analyze. I don't care. Woody Allen once said to me, if it's funny, fall on your knees, say thank you, God, and go on to the next.
In your early career, when you came out of, you were coming out of Barnard College, and you were playing what were considered by a lot of people, I'm sure, to be dives at that time.
Yeah.
What was the feeling when you went up there? Here you are, most women didn't go to college of that time, and you had just come out of a college, and you're in these dives doing...
I just did what I had to do. It was truly a calling for me. The whole theatrical experience was something that I had to do. And I always look at people, I don't understand people that don't have that. They say, like, I always wanted to be a lawyer, or I always knew I was going to be an artist. And so I went where I could perform. And it was going to be a terrible place. It was a terrible place. I knew they were a terrible place. I wasn't deluding myself.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought, aren't I lucky I'm playing show bar in Boston. But if that's where you started, that's where you started.
Right. And of course, then your big break came on The Tonight Show. Now, when you first sat down with Johnny there, did you feel that it went well when it was over? Did you feel like, boy, that was that?
When I first went on The Tonight Show, I'd been brought up 7 times already as a performer and rejected. And so by the time they brought me on, they didn't even bring me on as a comedian. They brought me on as a girl comedy writer.
Mm-hmm.
And it went very well, he and I, but I didn't know it was going well. And on camera, he said, you're going to be a star.
Really?
Right on camera. And I still didn't get it. The next morning, I went into a bank to kite a check, which is a thing in those days. You go in and say, please hold this check another day. The money is coming. Here's the money. I have a check coming in today. Can you hold the check? That kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's called kiting. And the teller behind the counter said, I saw you last night on The Tonight Show. Of course we'll hold it. And I knew my life was changed.
Yeah.
That's when I knew it had been a success.
Right. And then at one point you became a permanent guest host.
That was quite a few years later.
Right. What did that feel like? Going on...
Nothing. At that point it was all work.
Is that right?
You were never told you're good. You were never told you're wonderful. You were never told by anybody at NBC, we love you, we need you. It was... You were given it, but I worked very hard from the minute I got it. I've always been a worker. And so it felt like nothing. It's only looking back you realize, wasn't that a nice thing?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then, of course, Fox came calling when they would upstart in 1986 and wanted you to be their signature star. Did you realize at the time that was going to be such a huge riff with Carson?
No, again, you didn't. I didn't think. My contract was up. It had been up for 6 months, and no one bothered to come and renew it, thinking she'll never go anyplace.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you're so insecure that when somebody else comes and says, we want you, of course you go. So I had no idea that Carson would be that competitive. It was all about 2 things. It was about competition. I suddenly went from being his darling to being opposite him. And it was all about money. And money meaning if people watched me instead of him, his ratings would go down, and therefore his salary and ad dollars would go down. It was a business decision when you really think about it.
Right.
He was very angry about it.
And that was never settled.
Never settled. Never settled. And how sad is that?
That's awful.
Yeah.
It's an awful thing. When you were guest hosting tonight's show, how different was it to go in? I mean, you're guest hosting for Johnny Carson, and then it's the Joan Rivers show. Is that a big difference?
No, not at all.
Really not?
You had the same staff, the same studio, the same everything, and you just guest hosted. And you were never told you were wonderful, and you were never told your numbers were good. And every time you brought in a guest that was a good guest, they then took them away and gave them to Johnny. So it was never that wonderful bucolic feeling on the show. It was always uphill work and begging them, can I please have Cher on? And then the minute she did well, I never saw her again. Can I please have Louis Tomlin on? The minute she did well, they switched her over to Johnny. So there wasn't any, it was work. It was work and fighting all the time.
Really? So there was never a good period doing the Fox show?
Oh, you're talking about the Fox. I was talking about Carson.
Oh, yeah, I mean, when you finally got it on your own show.
Oh, the Fox show was very difficult because the NBC threw all their guns against us, and, you know, the edict went out, you do her show, you don't do our show. You know, the usual. It was a tough battle.
Right. And then in the early 90s came the Joan Rivers daytime show, which I really feel was, I can remember, that was a great show. How was that different from the nighttime show? Were there different rules? Or?
It was daytime, and it was slower paced because you had fewer guests on, so you could really go more into depth, and I was in charge of it, and I was very, very happy with it. And I thought it was a very good show.
Right. And then you won the Emmy in 1990. How did that feel? I can just remember that speech.
That was great. That was a wonderful, it was just wonderful. First of all, it was something they can't take away from you. Because you have an Emmy. Nobody can come along and say, I'm firing you now, give me your Emmy back. And it was just a very nice moment after a lot of problems to have come back, and it let me know that I was back.
Right.
It was great.
Right. And one period in your career, the movie in 1994, Tears and Laughter. You know, I guess most people kind of see you as one type of thing. I mean, because you're really not synonymous with a character like Vivian Vance was. You know, people see you as Joan Rivers. And in that movie, they kind of saw you as the personal person.
Right.
How do you feel those two people are different, and what kind of impact do you feel that movie had?
Well, I don't know. You know, different, who knows? Again, I don't study myself, so I don't ever want to, so I don't care.
Right.
How different I was. But the impact was amazing. I still get letters. We were the first people to bring suicide and what it does to a family out into the open. And it was, the critics didn't like it, and they said you shouldn't do it. But the mail still, to this day, comes in saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I just had suicide in my family, and you've shown us what it does and how you can get through. So I'm still thrilled we did it.
Right. And then kind of another kind of changing gears here in your career, something really nobody did at that time, the QVC. Where did that come from? And
that again came from, it was not a good moment in my life, and I wasn't making any money. And I had lots of expenses, and they came to me with this shopping stuff, and nobody, unless you were a dead celebrity, was on those shopping centers that time. I mean, nobody went on them. And I just thought, hey, it's another way to make a buck, you know. Let me try it. And I designed my own stuff, and we went on, we sold out. And it grew, it began to grow and grow and grow. They came back and asked me for more. And the next thing you know, I began to do very well, and then suddenly I made it okay.
Yeah. It kind of changed.
Like the red carpet. You know, that I was the only one out there when I first went out on the red carpet.
Right, I mean, just
beneath everybody to be out there.
Right, just like that was my next question. The red carpet, I mean, nobody really, I mean, that was kind of thought to be...
Garbage.
Yeah,
you didn't do it. I was told by friends not to do it, and it's beneath you, and it's below you. And, you know, it was only the paparazzi out there, and some very local people that everyone went, you know, who the hell is that? Who cares? And for me to stand out there was very humiliating. But you do what you do.
Right, it's become successful.
Yeah, it became successful. But it was again a thing that I wasn't working at the moment. And I was delighted to work.
Right. Right. And another thing, aspect of your career, you do a lot of motivational speaking, and in like the age of, the Dr. Phil's and the quick fix books, what do you feel that people most want to hear when you go out on these circuits? I mean, it's from somebody who's lived a life, hasn't led,
I think they're very happy to see them still here.
Really?
And I've gotten through a lot of stuff that they're going through. I think that's terrific for them to see you can do it, you can get through, nothing's going to get you. And so I think they're very glad to hear that from me. And they also love to hear how I solved my problems. Because a lot of times you're giving them a way to kind of maybe try to solve theirs.
Right. And what's coming up next for you now? I mean, I know the new TV Guide channel.
TV Guide channel, which will be starting again with E. That's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing that, my daughter and I. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then I've just finished a Broadway play, which is going on, and I just did the first season of my own show in England. We just got picked up for 20 more, so that's exciting. And then, what else am I doing? The Broadway show I told you, yes.
Right.
There's the Broadway show, QVC, Vegas, touring, just thinking out loud, running the whole jewelry cosmetic company, just everything.
So just kind of never stop.
No, I'm crazed for the business. I went the other day. I did a benefit for Broadway Cares, which is for AIDS, and I was standing backstage near the Hairspray set, and I thought, when I was 14, I wanted to be in this business, and I'm now 70, and I still want to be in this business. And how wonderful is that?
Great.
Still be in love with what you love.
Exactly. Do what you love, never work a day in your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is there anything that you, because I mean you've trailblazed so many, QVC, Red Carpet, is there anything that you still want to do that you haven't done?
Oh, yes. I'd love to do a series. I've never been asked to do a series.
Really?
I've never been asked. Love to go out and do a television series. That'd be so much fun. Doris Roberts is the luckiest woman alive.
She's great.
Like a second banana, and then you shine through. I mean, that's fabulous.
That's right. And years from now, what will Joan Rivers' epitaph read?
Who cares? I earned it. I spent it. I had a good time.
That's exactly right. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, and I appreciate it.
How many people are you talking to?
Oh gosh, I'm up to about 25 now. We did Phyllis Diller, which
she's wonderful.
Oh, she was great. We did her twice. She was so great.
Yeah, she's just terrific.
Hilarious.
And a lovely woman. And let me just tell you one Phyllis Diller story.
Okay.
I was starting out, and she was at her height, and she came to see me in a nightclub. And there's always jealousy. You're a little older, and here's somebody new coming. She was the one that laughed the loudest, and I adored her ever since then. She's just a wonderful woman.
And those paintings she does, my goodness.
Yes. Oh, she's just wonderful.
That was great. Well, like I said, I've been a fan of yours for years. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
My pleasure.
And have a great holiday.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.